We got the Bronx's own Uni-G joining me here for Sports and Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max, Live 265, iHeartRadio. I'm free, available on all platforms now. Got to check out the video. He's currently working on his third project. He's really come a long way, not only just in the music industry, but in life. But he's joining me here for the show tonight. Welcome to the show, man. How's everything going?
Everything's going well, bro. I appreciate you for having me. Like you said, I'm out here just grinding, promoting. I'm free right now and just rolling with the punches with the single. You know what I mean? So I'm happy to be here. I'm very grateful, bro.
Oh,
Appreciate you,
I
man.
appreciate that. That means a lot. Are you still in New York? Are you still in the Bronx right now?
Yeah. So I just moved to the little suburbs. I'm in Yonkers, but born and raised in the Bronx. I just moved like a month ago. So I just have my son. So I'm like, let me take him out the hood. So yeah,
Congratulations. Took him into the DMX territory now.
right. The safe part, though, the safe part.
Yeah.
I appreciate that,
So,
bro.
did you step out into the heat today? It was pretty hot.
Bro, it feels like Zimbabwe outside. It is hot outside. It is dry heat out there. It's serious.
Yeah, it definitely is. Oh my, it was too much today. But let's get into the new
Yeah.
record. I'm free. It's available on all platforms. So, what was the long process in creating this record, and what do you kind of want to convey to your audience now? Because it seems as though you went through something spiritually and personally, and it's significant because you mentioned that you just had a kid and you
Right,
just recently got married as well. So,
right.
it talked about the creation of this record because it seems though it
Yeah,
took a
yeah.
while.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. It did take some time. Primarily it came from some time ago, somebody had hacked my Instagram page. And at the time, I only knew how to identify myself as a rapper, like a rapper producer. I've been rapping and producing since I've been rapping since 10, producing since 17. So when he had hacked my IG, it made me realize like I have no identity outside of this. Like outside of I didn't play ball, I didn't really watch TV, I wasn't into anything but music and creating music. So when he did that, it just had me like, all right, I need to reflect on who I am. And that's when I realized I wasn't free at all. As much as I thought I was on tour with A Boogie, Tiger, Lupe. I'm thinking
Dave East.
yeah, you're right, Dave. He's right. I'm thinking I'm just doing it big. And then I realized, like, no, like I am lost. And so it made me kind of slow down and realize, like, I need to be set free. And that's when found God and just it changed my life. And so from there, I started writing I'm Free. And I joined the church, and the church choir is on the record. They're in the video. And then I shot the video and got people from all over the world send me footage and even some people from the churches that we have all over the world. So it was really, really dope. But it took a while, but that's what, the love behind it is.
I saw that. It was amazing to see. It really takes it back to the roots of music. And talk to me about your history in music, not only from your perspective, but I wanted to get into your father and your grandfather. So it comes from the
Yeah.
roots with folk music. So do you
Ah,
think that there's
ah.
some things that where you're kind of trying to incorporate that or even push that forward now that you're kind of taking a different approach to music in a way in your messaging? Is that something because we see Shabuzi out here, we see these other artists that are taking the both genres and really combining them in collaboration with artists. So is that something that you want to do, knowing that you have that folk background from your father and grandfather?
Yeah, I think so. I have my grandfather's record. I never met him, but he legit was a touring artist, and I do want to start to incorporate some of his music into mine, just sample it and put some drums in there, just to have that organic feel. And my dad was a guitarist himself. He played the
Hmm.
guitars. I got mine back there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I definitely want to incorporate more of that into my music, but just to get the soul. To get that soul inside of it so people can really connect with it. Because to be honest with you, I feel like it's sometimes hard for myself to place me in a genre. Like I'm
Hmm.
not 100% this or not 100% that. I'm more fluid. So I think that would be dope to explore to allow people to see my diversity. You know what I mean?
I think so. What's the update on getting this record with Ross? Because I think you wanted, was it Pablo that you wanted to get him on?
Dang, that's crazy. That's crazy. That is fire. So yeah, I wanted to get him on Pablo. And that was prior to me joining the church. And I still think I do want him. I want him on the record, but I want to just have that conversation with, like, bro, I need you to step into my world
Hmm.
because I would love for him to be on the record, but if he's cursing and talking a lot of craziness, then that'll just be me forfeiting my own soul. You know what I mean? So I want to sit down with him, like, listen, the idea behind Pablo, it's a true story. One of my friends I went to high school with, he was in the gang, flyest guy in the school, never wore the same sneakers, and he was killed, shot in the head and shot in the heart. And so what I was trying to convey with the song Pablo was that, we all want to be Pablo, want to be the drug dealer, the cool guy until you're dead. Right. And so I really saw Rick Ross on the track. And, I think I'm still going to make that happen. Now that you brought that back to me, I'm going to make that happen. That's fire.
We need to, yeah. I think that would work. He's got the voice, he's got the lyricism. It would really complement you. And you've always kind of been of a bar rapper even before this transition. But Mr. Biggs discovered you, Soul Sonic Force. So you've really had the history there. Africa Bambaataa. So you got the
Yeah.
legends behind you, the pioneers of hip hop. So how did you guys initially get connected and meet? Was this
Yeah.
through like a studio session? How did you guys meet? Because he brought you. It was Mr. Biggs that brought you to the studio, and you met Rick Rubin. So how was it being around all these guys?
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's dope. Um, so when I was 17, I was battle rapping. I was battle rapping in school, and Mr. Biggs, he used to do like work with the school. And so he's walking by one day and he hears me battle rapping. He's like, listen, Uni, you have something. He was like, but the way you rap is more melodic. Like you're not really a street rapper, you're more a song type of rapper. And I'm like, look, help me out. Like, let me know how I need to do it. And he paid for all the studio time, even took me to Madison Square Garden, just to have me see the music industry at the time behind the scenes. And it was like, whoa, like this is crazy. You know what I mean? So yeah, he definitely brought me in. That was crazy. I was just talking to him like a few days ago. He hit me up. But yeah, he was very instrumental in just me starting my career and taking it to the next level. You
For
know?
sure. Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane. Who else was at this MSG performance?
Oh man, to be honest with you, I don't remember everyone, but it was a whole bunch of like old school artists
Hmm.
like Big Daddy Kane, the whole Soul Sonic Force, Jazzy J was on the turntable, so forth and so on. It was crazy, crazy night, crazy night.
That's fire. And you also had Steve Lobel. He's someone that's always been supporting you. So how does he figure out and just support you now through that you've had this change? Is he really supportive of just everything that you're doing right now as well?
Yeah, yeah, this dope, bro. This fire. You did your homework. Come on. Yeah, so Steve Lobel, he started rocking with me in 2000, I think 18. I was on tour. This is when I started with Lupe, and I had my own headlining tour, Welcome to My
Mhm.
Universe tour. And so Steve Lobel caught wind of it and came a part of the tour. He would come at the end of the show, the beginning of the show, just to talk to the different artists, so forth and so on. And since then, he's just been behind me 100%. Shouts me out on the radio, just out of love. So yeah, he's still behind me. Shout out to him. He just reposted my interview with someone else, and he's still just showing so much love. So shout out to my boy Steve Lobel. I'm praying that him and I can continuously connect so it could become a bigger record.
Absolutely. That's real right there. It's really been a long journey for you. Like you said, 10, it was so I heard that you got a part of the yearbook for your freestyling competition.
Yeah, that's funny. That's dope. Yeah, when I was that was elementary school, eighth grade
Wow.
or middle school. Yeah, I was nominated the best freestyle rapper in the school because we all used to bang on the table and battle each other, so forth and so on. And so at the end of the year, I had to battle a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of other artists. Oh my guys, and I won. I won, and I was nominated best freestyler. In the school. It was dope. It was dope.
It's definitely been an incredible journey for you, and even just like you said, when we meet Mr. Biggs at 17, and then you're going on all these tours. You were someone. This is something that's such an you're an innovator in your own way because you put up the money from your own tours. You weren't even getting haircuts. You're saving all your money, which is
Yeah,
rare because people just blow through their money when they work jobs. So you saved every penny for your
yeah.
tour. So why was it that you weren't able to join one of these other artist tours in which you kind of had to do it yourself? Was it because that there wasn't a certain buzz? Was it that certain
Yeah.
connections that didn't meet? What was it that you had to invest in yourself?
Bro, that's fire. Where did you get all this? That's dope. So it was this huge, huge tour at the time to me that I really wanted to be a part of. And their feedback to me was I just didn't have enough Instagram followers at the
Oh
time.
God.
And, right, it's a numbers game. Or
It
that's when
is.
yeah, that's when the numbers game started. What's your streams, what's your so forth and so on. So I remember auditioning, and the guy who was watching audition, he was like, "Oh, do another song, do another song." And I kept going. He was like, "Bro, you're great," but he was like, "You just don't have the follow." And he's like, "I know that's what they're gonna tell you." And I'm like, "Man, I was really heartbroken. I really wanted to be a part of that tour." So I'm like, "You know what? I'm gonna just do my own tour." And that was my first tour. That was the Swerve tour, and it was successful. I sold out the first show. I had Fred the Godson. Rest in peace to him.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, we packed out the house. And I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I don't need them. Maybe I can do this myself. And so I did it again. I did a show with Manolo Rose, packed out the house. Did another show with Graf, Nitty Scott, packed out the house to the point where we did another show, all these radio stations and billboards and so forth and so on started coming out. And I'm like, wow, like I didn't know it could turn into something so big. So that's where it started. Where it went was just like crazy, crazy.
And then you get to work with Lupe on his tour
Yeah.
out in Cali. And is it true he was your favorite rapper as a kid?
He still is. He still is my
Hmm.
favorite rapper. And I mean, you can only imagine to open up for him was like, all right, hold on, let me just take a second. Like Lupe, it's my favorite rapper. So meeting him was great. And what was so dope is that I worked through a company called We Book Bands, and they was like, okay, you can open up for him. And I was on the top of the bill, me and my boy Coda the friend.
Hmm.
And so after they had saw me perform, I'm just chilling in the audience now, just taking it in. And I'm talking to some lady, and I'm like, "Yo, Lupe is my favorite rapper." She's like, "Oh, bro, like, are you serious? Like, you were dope." She was like, "What do you think about staying on tour?" And I'm like, "Who are you?" She was like, "I'm his manager." I'm like, "Yo, stop playing." So from there, we stayed on. I stayed on tour with him, and we built a genuine connection, and it was crazy. From there, it just kept going up.
What tour was it? Was it the Lasers tour? What tour was it?
No, no, no. This is way past Lasers. This was 2000, right when my album dropped. So 2018 or 19.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember what the tour was called. I just know I was there and I was hyped. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I saw the
saying?
footage. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
fire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and since then, me and Lupe, I've gone to a ton of his shows and, we've just had great relationships.
That's the guy right there. Yeah, definitely one of the best lyricists in the game. So what were some of the artists early on that really attracted you to hip hop, especially because I know your brother was the one who introduced you to the whole he was a big hip hop guy, a Tribe
Yeah,
Called Quest. So
right,
who are your kind of like your top five or even just your influences now, especially when you've gone through this transition? Because I
right.
feel as though there's a lot of artists that go through transitions in music. So who are kind of some artists that you looked up to when you were a kid and now
Yeah.
that you kind of follow as far as who went through transitions?
Right, right. So as a kid, of course, I had like, Tupac, Big,
Hmm.
Jay-Z. I was really, really a fan of even before I knew him. The whole Questlove and the whole gang over there in
Okay.
Philadelphia. Yeah,
The
like they
Root.
really inspired me. Yeah, the Roots, they really inspired me growing up and still do, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now, as you know, when I was able to explore myself, I really like a lot of underground hip hop.
Hmm.
Like so, Saha the Prince is one of my favorite rappers. Locksmith, like those real like
Okay.
yeah,
Underground.
yeah, yeah, underground bars. I really like their music. Kanye, of course,
Hmm.
Jay-Z, you know what I mean? Nicki Minaj is too. I really loved her cadence, her character, and just the presence she brings to the songs. I'm just now getting more into the Christian hip hop. So I
Hmm.
only know like the Andy Mineos, the Lecrae's, so forth and so on. But I'm still exploring that side. But those were some of my like, hands down favorites. You know what I mean?
Of course, those are the legends in the game, and
Right.
you're following right in the footsteps, and it's really getting packed out here. So, when did things start to really turn around for you? And I don't like speaking on finances of people, but I did hear when you were at the MSG performance that you didn't have hot water. So, when did things start to really turn around for you on that aspect when you didn't have to worry about that anymore?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So to be honest with you, I feel like it was relatively recently, because during the Swerve tour, I was still on the come up. So there were some shows where I took hits, where I didn't make as much money because I had to pay for this and so forth and so on. And then I started my clothing line, and my clothing line, which was crazy because I only started it because people wanted merch at my shows, and it took off. And so then I had so many people like Sway Calloway legit backing my brand. He would wear it on interviews. He took it to Red Bull to have Red Bull sponsor me. And so that was about around the same time, 2018, 2019, where things started to turn around, primarily because of my clothing brand, which is called Cold Chili, and the music. So that's when I would say things started to turn around for me. Thank God I have hot water now every day. I mean, that's fire, you know what I
Well,
mean?
now you might want to get into cold water because
Right,
it's so
right,
hot
right.
out.
The way it's feeling out, yeah. Right, right. Yeah.
Unbelievable. No, but I'm happy to hear that everything's turned around for you and you're following through, and especially when we look at just the roots of everything and just in the music. So you got this whole project that you're working on now.
Yeah.
When is there a pinpointed date to when you want to release this? Because now your fans have kind of been on the edge. Now that you see I'm free, you got a new message out.
Yeah.
So people have been
Yeah.
hungry for some Uni-G here. So
Yeah.
when can we expect it
Yeah.
from the timeline?
Yeah, you know what? I have a whole bunch of singles ready to go. As far as
Bunch
the
of
project
singles.
goes, I don't know when I want to drop an entire project. I don't even know if people like projects like whole albums anymore. You know what I mean? Like we're such in a single world. So I have a whole bunch of singles ready to fly. My next single is gonna be called Queen to Me. And I love it. It's actually my favorite song on the album, or one of my favorite singles, I should say. And it's pretty much about just different scenarios of women, what they go through, like abortions, miscarriages, taking the train with a bad baby father, so forth and so on. So just speaking on those instances, and I have a song called Kings. So just to have that balance. So I have a whole bunch of singles ready to go. I'll probably drop Queen to Me like in another like 2 months. Then after that, I'll probably drop Kings. Then I have a single called Top Left, which I'm hoping to get Drake on. Because Top Left is that Canadian term. So in that video is already done, so forth and so on. So I'm hoping he comes on a remix, So that's what we are right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he needs to get back to the music. I'm telling. I know he just
Yeah.
dropped that collaboration tape a couple months ago, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
he's been hurting with the
I
Kendrick
know
beef.
he's been hurting. He's been hurting. I think he
And
can come back though. I think he
yeah,
can.
you're seeing it now.
Yeah.
Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have anything to say about that guy.
Right, 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 right. Wild, wild, crazy,
Unbelievable.
crazy.
Uh,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So, what? Because you're also a producer. So, who
Yeah.
was it that was really coming into schools to teach you? Because you learned on Fruity Loops early on. So, what was this
Right.
program to where they were teaching you how to make beats?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the program was called Sobro, South
Hmm.
Bronx. And they taught me on FL, I think either not they taught me on FL5. Right now they're like a FL20 something. So they told me FL5 step by step. And I remember just being so like, all right, I need to learn this because I was tired of at the time paying for beats and so forth and so on. And Mr. Biggs, I had told him like, look, my guys rap too, so we're gonna be a group. So he had took all of us on and to buy beats for the group. It was a lot of money. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn myself. And so they taught me. And since then, I started my own program in after schools and where I teach the kids and so forth. And I teach the kids to teach the kids how to make their own beats. All right. It's my own
Yeah, you were a
4 part.
teacher. You did some teaching too.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I teach the kids how to make beats. And I mean like they're dope. So I'm legit repaying exactly how I learned what I did for them. And then they go out, and they can work for my program, teaching kids how to make beats as well.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that to teach what you love to do. And you also did some counseling too. Was there like camp counseling or something?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
that was
So
it.
it
Yeah.
combined with the two.
Right, right, right. And it was dope, bro. Like this actually, one of my old students, his name is Hood Star Dottie. And so he
Okay,
rolls with Didi Osama. So Didi Osama, Hood Star. So and to see him now, he was one of my students, and now he's famous. Is like, wow, that's
that's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, it's wild.
Crazy, crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it shows that it works, the program works.
Did you have a job at Atlantic too? Was that something that you did? How was this job at Atlantic?
Yeah, so I used to produce for Sony, and
Mm,
I was produced for Sony for a few different artists, and so from there I was actually going to sign to Atlantic. So I did a sit down with my boy Success at Atlantic. My boy Will Styles brought me over there, but it just never went through, and shortly after that meeting, I was gonna have a meeting with Universal as well. The pandemic happened, so
oh,
everything just kind of slowed down, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, just right now isn't the best timing. So that's pretty much what happened with Universal and Atlantic. You know,
mm. No,
yeah,
and it's all pinning out right now. I think it's working out how it was supposed to, and I feel as though that the break was needed because you needed to
yeah,
change personally. So, how did everything really come about to you on this stage now? Because what was the point to where, because there's a certain thing where everyone, when they get success in the industry, whether it's money, they spend it on clothes,
yeah,
the
yeah,
sneakers, all kinds of things, and it's all filling holes
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
insecurity and
yeah,
things that you're lacking that isn't, it's not stuff that's physical, it's more mental and
yeah,
spiritual. It's
right,
something that
right.
you need. So what was it that you really needed to fill that was lacking for so long, you think?
Yeah, that's such a great question, bro. To be honest with you, it was God. You know what I mean? Like, you know how it is. Like, we can go out for all the things that we think make us happy. Like you said, the money, the woman, and so forth and so on. But it doesn't ever really fill that hole. There's a legit pocket in all of our hearts that is meant for God.
Hmm.
And, and so I think I was just looking for that because I thought I had him. And I think that's the scary part about it is when you think, oh, no, me and God are good, but we weren't. And I deceived myself into thinking we were good. Like I was one of those who I was primarily in the clubs just to promote my singles. Like the DJs would play it. You know, I wasn't there to really pop bottles, but I mean, when I was in there, I was dancing with women and so forth and so on. And so that is counter to who God is asking me to be. And
Hmm.
so that slowdown for me was God just telling me, like, you need to find me, because I've already found you. And in the midst of the guy who hacked my Instagram page, that's when I started kind of seeking him. And then my dad died, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
Oh man,
yeah,
my
yeah.
condolences.
Thanks, bro.
Hmm.
Thanks. And I'm like, you know what? Like, you got my attention.
Yeah.
I'm locked in. And from there, bro, I did some Bible studies with my church now, and it changed my life. I realized I knew nothing. I knew nothing really about God. I only knew the John 3:16 God, right? Everybody tell you, oh, it's okay. Yeah, no, he died for you. Go live your life. And then I found out, like, no, that's just a very small part of who God wanted me to be. So that's what I needed. I needed to be planted in God. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, and no matter because it's sad. Like I've even went through it where getting so much clothes and sneakers,
Yeah.
it doesn't fill the
Yeah.
holes that you go through. It doesn't. It's even you can look at it from a woman perspective, whatever it is, cars, and then people turn to drug addiction, which is crazy. It really is just. And you mentioned your calling was finding God, and now you have a family. So how
Yeah.
does things change for you now that you're also a father?
Oh man, it's so big, bro. That's so big. Primarily because I have a son.
Yeah.
I have a son, and it's big because, if let's say I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see a woman who's like not dressed appropriately or whatever,
Uh,
and then I look in his eyes, and then it's like it makes me wonder, like, okay, I don't even want to get caught in this. I don't want to even stare for a second and have to deal with all the sin in my mind. And I'm like, I think like I never ever want him to go through what I went through. Like, when you're growing up, they tell you, oh, the more girls you have, the better. How many bodies you got. Like, that was
well,
cool. You
it's
know what I
still
mean?
like that. It still
That's
is.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that, you think it's cool until, for me at least, when you find God and it's your wedding day, and I can't give my wife my body for the first time because so many people already had me. And thank God I was able to get baptized and cleanse myself. So she was technically kind of, having me for the first time. Like we stopped kissing the whole nine. Like we even stopped holding hands. Like we really wanted to do this purely. So we had that, but I really wish that on the day of our wedding, I could have given her my body for the first time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I realized like that's not cool when it's the end of the day. It's not cool. So again, I only now I want my son to live a life that was so opposite of mine, and that my mission in being who I am now and rapping is not to glorify myself. I just want people to find God. Like that
Hmm.
is my mission now. Other than that, it's not money, it's not fame. It's just I pray people find God and find him properly. Because there's so much false doctrine out here. So yeah, that's my goal, and that's my goal for my son as well.
Yeah, I respect that, and we need that more than ever. You mentioned I'm sure that what you saw was on the Explore page because you see that on there constantly. You
Of
know it.
course,
You
of
gotta, they
course.
gotta take that out of there. That
I
Explore.
know. Thank God my algorithm has changed because I don't watch that stuff. So now my algorithm is just music and gospel stuff. Thank God.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Right.
toxic. It's bad out here. That's why I commend you for even being honest with yourself and realizing that you changed for the better. And I
Yeah,
wish a lot of other people would. And
yeah.
I don't know, we're definitely in a warfare out here spiritually with that. It's just the body counts are still they're
That's
still shame. You have people putting up LeBron numbers on.
numbers, right? I know it's so sad, bro. It's legit deteriorating to the soul, and they have no idea.
It is, yeah. It's crazy because then there's real people in their life they treat like garbage, but it's like nah, I got to rack up let's get some more
Exactly,
rebounds and
exactly, exactly.
more triple doubles.
Yeah, we have to realize that we have to make decisions that we're going to be okay remembering. Like, there's so many like thoughts that come in my mind from my past, and I'm like, why did I do that? And it won't go away. It's
Hmm.
like torment, and it's because I thought I had to put numbers up. So it's like I don't want that for nobody. We really don't want that at the end of the day. We want loyalty. We want
Exactly.
love. So Crazy, bro. Crazy.
It's rare to find. I'll tell
Yeah,
you that.
it is. It is.
I think your name was always in sync with what you're doing now. Your teacher gave this to you.
Yeah.
That's how you got your
Yeah,
name.
yeah, right, right. It's so crazy how it's just grown throughout the years. But initially, Miss Hughes in like seventh or sixth grade, she had introduced the term unicellular, just
Hmm.
a one single-celled organism that can't be duplicated. And so that's the name that started, growing with me. Everyone, yo, uni. And so today, also to add on to that, my cousin, who's named after my dad, he named me Unilias. And which is so crazy is Unilias means one with God, and I had no idea, and neither did he. And so, I think now it's just like Unilias one with God, so Uni-G just one with God. So, but it started out from what my teacher named me until now, which is just Uni-G. So it's crazy.
Wow. It's all in sync. I'm telling you, it's
Right.
definitely meant to
Yeah.
be. I'll tell you.
Right.
And because there was like a gap too, where, because you mentioned 10 was when it first started, 17's when you had the studio session with
Yeah.
Mr. Biggs and getting connected with him. But it was really 21 that set things off. What was it? It kind of, was there like a little bit of a hiatus in between then? Because you did do the cocoa butter, because that was.
Oh my God. Yeah, 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 that's crazy. So Do the Cocoa Butter I released when I was in college, and Mr. Biggs hated that song. He thought it was so bad. But that's when, all the dance songs were out. And I'm like, look, I just want to kind of fit in at the time, which never worked for me. But Cocoa Butter did its thing. It landed on World Star. World Star actually shot the video, JTR Promotion. So they came out, shot the video, and it was doing its thing. But I actually, there was no hiatus. I had dropped the album called The Commercial at the time. I took it off streaming websites because I was cursing in it. So I
Mhm.
wanted to like now just kind of obviously clean things up. I'll probably put it back up just so everybody can still enjoy it. But I dropped the commercial and I had Joe Budden on one of the records, and it was doing well. It was really doing well. And then that led into the Welcome to My Universe segment. But first I released a single called Swerve, the Swerve tour that I was on. And so Swerve did so well. Like it charted number 21 on the charts. I was obviously on the Swerve tour and I was selling out, so forth and so on. So I was always just going. It was 2020 where things kind of slowed down because of the pandemic, but I was just going,
Still going.
just going.
What would you
So,
say you kind of took away from those major tours? Because you mentioned that you were on. We talked about Lupe, Davies, Tyga. So what did you kind of take away into those tours that you were able to implement into your own?
oh, that's so good. One, I was able to take away just their work ethic.
Hmm.
Like Lupe is a great performer,
He is.
the endurance. I'm one of those, like I watch breath control, how they hold the mic, what they do with their hands. He's a great performer. So I took those type of things away. Big Daddy Kane is a really, really great performer too. I mean, he's solid. And what he does, which I now implement in my own way, is at one of his shows or some of his shows, he'll put candy canes in the seats. And so they leave with a piece of him. And I'm like, that is so fire. So at my
Yeah,
that's so fire.
creative.
Yeah, I like to give things away. Like I'll give away a Uni-G pin or so forth and so on. Like, oh, you're taking experience with me. So those type of things I learned from these artists, like, okay, like it's about an experience, not just a performance. So, and of course, on the money side, that's something I learned as well, like how to build capital. So at first, this is like a upcoming artist hack. At first, I would go to these different clubs or so forth and so on and do shows. But then what I did was I started renting out spaces entirely, bringing my own bar, like telling go buy a whole bunch of bottles, and this is how much we're gonna charge. So all the capital comes to me, and that's where the money's really at, the bar. You know what I mean? And then the door,
Yeah.
everything was recouped. So those type of things I took out.
No, that's real, and I'm telling you, this is all incorporating into what you're doing. As far as, because now that you're on this path to where you mentioned that you're editing the old records out and you want to get Rick
Yeah,
Ross to step into your world. So, is this
yeah,
something that you're going to try to do, just to get a lot of artists to step into your world? Is there other artists that you want to work with besides Ross now
yeah,
to
yeah.
step in?
Yeah, that's the goal. I do want a whole bunch of mainstream artists, well-known artists, to step into this world because how else am I going to reach people out there and teach them about Christ, right? And so
Hmm.
now if I get someone like Rick Ross on my record and he's talking about Jesus, and then it kind of sparks his audience. And so yeah, that is the goal for everyone to step into my world. And to be honest with you, my goal is to start baptizing them, like teach them the Bible truly and baptize and make him to a disciple of Jesus Christ. Like if I can baptize Jay-Z and I can get in these rooms with somebody like Steve Lobel on my side, I can talk to a Jay-Z, a Drake, a Kanye and really build with them first, because I know everyone doesn't want, God or Fripp, just build with them and then show them like, look, this is what I learned. Like this has saved my life. And
Hmm.
I pray that it saves yours. And so, yeah, we could do a record, but at the end of the day, okay, boom, let's study the Bible and let's get you true in a true relationship with God. So yeah, that's 100% the goal, and I think that'll be dope. Other than Rick Ross, like I said, Drake, I think Drake would be
Drake,
dope.
we
Yeah,
mentioned that.
yeah, yeah, definitely Kanye. Jay, I think that would be fire. Working with DJ Khaled, I think that would be dope. Um,
Hmm.
even though he's Muslim, I've shared my faith to Lupe. And at first he made fun of me. He was like, "What you gonna have me speaking in blah 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 blah?" And everybody was laughing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, Lupe, like, I'm talking about some serious stuff. And they all got serious and he got serious. He was like, no, Uni, I'll study the Bible with you. So we still gonna make that happen, but just knowing I have that type of access, that's the goal, you know?
Mm. No, that's real. That's definitely game changing for sure. So you mentioned before because you were never big in the sports and it was always music for you. So what are some avenues now that you want to get into
Yeah.
now that you're on this new path? What are some other, because you mentioned you want to teach, people, show people their way to God and things like that.
Right.
But what are some things else you want to get involved with? Is maybe
Right.
charities and
Yeah.
other entertainment aspects?
Yeah, that's really good. So I'm already a part of an entire charity group. It's
Mhm.
called Mercy Worldwide. We actually just was planting trees. I messed up my finger, right? My hand,
Oh,
you see it. Yeah, we planting trees, so forth and so on this weekend. But so on that side, like we're feeding the homeless. We're actually helping those who were in Ukraine when the whole Ukraine thing was
okay,
happening.
with the war.
Right, right. Like we was killing it on CNN. So my whole as far as that side goes, we're locked in. But as far as myself, I do want to get more into entertainment. Like I want to get into acting. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I do a little acting. Obviously the producing. I want to produce for more artists. And just find out more things about myself. Like I just started swimming relatively
Hmm.
recently, and which was dope. Like I didn't even know I was into stuff like that. I wanna go golfing, like see if I'm into stuff like
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like really find out, this a new side of me that I never really had a chance to explore. I've legit been a musician since a kid, so that's all I knew. So I'm looking forward to finding out all the different areas, but definitely acting is on my top three. You know what I mean?
Is there a certain role that you want to play?
That's a good question, bro. I never thought about that.
Hmm.
I know I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to be limited to like being the hood guy or whatever case may be. You know what I mean? I do know I want to be like in a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. He's one of my favorite actors, him along with Tom Hanks, because they're so fluid. Like I don't know their personalities. Like I,
Hmm.
I feel like I kind of know Denzel's, Will Smith, but with Leonardo and like Tom Hanks, it's like, wait, who are you? So I know it's like one of those like Castaway roles or Inception, those
Hmm.
type of like, thinky movies.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Denzel, I feel as though, even though he's a great actor, you kind of just, you see Denzel in the roles in a way.
Exactly. 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 I don't want to be seen in the role at all.
Mhm. You want to playing the character. It's a
Exactly.
character actor. That's the main thing.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah. So how
Exactly.
about with, is there somewhere else? Because you're someone that's been, I think, in Iceland and all over the world. So
Right.
are you planning to go back on a world tour for this third project?
I am. So I have a lot of love in Iceland. They actually, my boy in Iceland, he worked for the radio station out there. He was in the I'm Free music video. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So far, I built some real connections. I usually build real good connections with people. So thankfully, so I'm
Mhm.
gonna go to Iceland again for sure. London. I'm gonna go back to Dubai. I performed out in Dubai, so I plan on going back out there. Ghana. And so a few other different places that I want to
Mhm.
get back to Canada. That's where me, A Boogie, and Tiger performed. So yeah, I'm planning on going back to all these different places to, talk to the fans, connect with them, and I'm looking forward to that. I think that's gonna be
Mhm.
dope.
And you mentioned Jay-Z before. I saw the Rock Nation picture pinned on your
Uh,
profile. So are you still wanting to really get in with these labels? Is that something that you want as well, or are you fine with being where you're at right now
Bro,
currently?
That's a dope question, man. Like I was at Rock Nation. I did a sit down on Rock Nation too, went to Title. Um, you know what? It is easier with the labels as far as expenses go, because everything comes out of my pocket. Thankfully, throughout the years, I've been able to learn, like, you know what, build your LLC, get your company card and so forth. But that's not stuff that you learn in school, like after the Pythagorean theorem. So I had to learn all that. So I would love to do a partnership with the label because I don't want to compromise my freedom because I know I don't fit in with what they promote, and I won't do that. So, but I will do a partnership, have them invest and kind of go from there. But if it doesn't happen, I'm 100% okay with it because again, it's not about the money or the fame. It's just about reach to spread the Lord's message. So
That's real. How about sermons? Have you thought about even, is that
I've done
something
a
you want to
few.
get into? Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a few. The churches asked me to do it, and I'm like, all right. Like at first, it's uncomfortable because it's easier to, obviously just talk as Uni-G and promote, the music and so forth and so on. But you have to be careful with God's word, and what it calls for is emotion, a different type of emotion to be tapped into versus the music. And so it's so hard doing sermons. I've done a few that they're online somewhere, or whatever the case may be. And it's been dope. It's been dope. I lead a Bible talk discussion every Tuesday with my wife in the Bronx. And one of the guys who's in the Bible talk now, he used to actually roll with Big Meech. So he was a killer.
Okay.
Yeah, jail. I mean, the whole nine. You know what I mean? He's never killed, but he was in jail and so forth and
Mhm.
so on. And now he's a part of the church. Now he's serving, and I spiritually mentor him or I disciple him, which is just crazy to see his life turn around. I would love to, continue to do that because that's what the songs are now, just sermons. You know what I mean? Like I'm free as a real sermon if you take time to really listen to it. So yeah, that's definitely on the list. You know what I mean?
I think, how about D1? Have you thought about working with someone like D1 or even Derek Minor? Because they
You,
bring artists into their world as well. I know D1 did a collab with The Game on his last album,
oh
and
wow, wow, that's
it
fine. I
re-
didn't know that.
it
Um,
really
I,
worked.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to work with D1. You know what I mean? I know he's big on, promoting the message. I would love to honestly sit down with him and just see what his doctrine really is.
Mhm.
Because, Christianity has spanned to hundreds of different denominations, which is crazy, which is terrible. So just to have that conversation with him, like, what are your beliefs and are they truly aligned with the word? Because everyone says they're Christian until you pull out the Bible. You know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, you're not really a Christian. You know what I mean? So I would love to just chop it up with him first, as well as make music with him.
Mhm. So do you feel as though that people kind of, in a way, mock the Bible, whereas though they don't practice what they preach? Is that kind of what you were alluding to with, let's see if you
No,
really, what's it kind of that you were trying to allude to, like
right.
trying to get through?
Though you do have those type of people for
Yeah.
sure. You know, what I realize and share my faith with and converse with many people is that people are uninformed. Like
Okay.
they just don't know. They were taught by someone who was taught by someone, and by the end of it, they just have a whole religion that is not Christianity at all. For example, like Catholicism, like people who baptize babies. I was big on that too. Like, I would ask my mom, did I get baptized as a baby? She's like, yeah, don't worry about it. And then I read the Bible, that's not even in there. And to even baptize a baby makes no sense because a baby knows nothing. They can't dedicate their lives to Jesus, but yet that is in the foundation, woven into the foundation of Catholicism. So it's stuff like that where it's like, well, you're living out a false doctrine, and God is a God of absolute. So if you're not following what He's saying, He's not going to have no necessary pity on that because He's giving you the truth. So you have to change your life. So
Mhm.
it's stuff like that, just ill-informed. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that we we clarified that because there
Yeah,
are those people that don't practice what they preach. We see it all
right.
the time.
Right. 100,
And there's also like you see the trend on it on social media. Everyone's got Bible verses. Everyone's got
Yeah.
they got all these crosses all over the place, and they're like the devil. Let's be honest.
For real, no, no, for real, bro. It's true. It's true. And it's
It
like you,
is.
you legit have to live out what you're saying. Like, bro, like I couldn't say this to you, and I was still like demonized by pornography. Like I stopped watching pornography when I started studying the Bible.
Mhm.
Stop masturbating. I mean, the whole nine. Like, stop, like I told you, stop having sex. Stop even holding hands with my wife. Not that I needed to stop holding hands, but I didn't want to have a hint of impurity. And so
Hmm.
that made her struggle, like holding my hand. I'm like, okay, then that's it. So that's what I mean by, or like what you're saying, like living out what you truly preach. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm going to fall short. I'm going to mess up. But the goal is to have the accountability to
Hmm.
confess things and to overcome it. Right.
That's so
So,
important because that's something people lack is the accountability. No one has accountability. A lot. Well, I'm
yeah.
not gonna say no one does, but a lot of people don't.
Right. And they don't want to get open. It's uncomfortable. Like, who wants to tell someone, hey, I masturbated? It's but we, you know what I mean? But we have to overcome. So it's like, I need you to hold me accountable and, be in my life. And that's what's dope about my church. We all have spiritual mentors or disciplers where we check in with them, all the time. And, we talk weekly and we confess, like, yo, this is what I'm going through. This is what I need help with, so forth and so on. So we need
Mhm.
it. We need it,
You
you
do.
know?
Did you get to the bottom of who hacked your Instagram account? Did you
You know what?
find out what
I did.
happened?
I didn't. I know I was able to get a picture of him by like video calling him from another account and kind of get a screenshot. But I don't know who he is. To be honest, like it was God by God's design that happened. That legit changed the trajectory of my life.
Mhm.
And at the moment, I was like broken about it. But now I'm so grateful because I still would have been lost. I would have never, I don't think I would have ever found God. I'm sure at that point, my career was like going up and up. I would have been living in Malibu, you know what I mean? And so forth and so on. And then you saw those California fires happen. That would have been me just running, just lost, you know what I mean? So I don't know who he is, but God bless him, you know what I mean? That's it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I don't think I could bless some. Well, your
Yeah,
path is different, but my path, if someone tried to do that to me, I wouldn't be blessing him. He would.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel you. I feel
Yeah.
you. God,
I don't know what my reaction would be, but yeah, it's too much. So, how do you feel about the numbers game now that you've had a different perspective? Because I feel as though you're building them up organically. Because I feel as
yeah,
though the game is really
yeah.
it's not in God's alignment really if we want to put it from that approach because a lot of people are lying about their numbers. People
Yeah.
numbers could be bought and people are going off those numbers which are they could be manipulated big time.
100%. You and from that you can see that there's no stability in that. I
Mhm.
hate the numbers game. I hate the how many streams you have, so forth and so on. But I do understand that it's important to them.
Mhm.
So I don't like to cater to it, to be honest with you. I'd rather just have it done organically. And so what's so dope about that is how I've been able to spin those numbers in a different way. So, for example, when I performed A Boogie and Tiger, there was about 10,000 people in the crowd. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the biggest thing ever. And so now I perform for my church in LA. We had a conference called the GLC. There was 3,500 people there, a fraction of the amount, but they were all from all different parts of the world. I mean, talking Guam, China, Dubai, all the different parts of the world that we have churches. And they were all screaming out my name. And so now I'm like, wait a minute, like I can go to these different cities and I don't have to front the numbers anymore. I can sell out in every single city just because of God, just because the church is there. So forget the numbers. I'm doing real things out here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it's all mine because I'm gonna buy the venue. I'm not gonna rent out a bar. I'm gonna buy a venue and everything is coming to my capital. So I can cut out the middleman and cut out the number game.
It's too much now. You got to rely on talent. I think that's what we have here. There's a lot of artists. I think we're really starting to see that now. I mean, with even when you look at Kendrick Lamar and Pusha T, that we're starting to really get back to the core of rapping, where before it
Yeah.
was more based on the pop-in records and the trends and things like that. We still
Right,
have
right,
it, but you're
right.
starting to see the real rise again a little bit here.
Right. 100. I love that. I love
You
that it's
love the
just
bar, yeah, because you started out. That was you, the bars guy.
exactly. I love that it's just going back to just gift, just the talent,
Mhm.
because now you have the music game just polluted with just a lot of nonsense. Like
Mhm.
you don't have to be talented anymore. As long as you have a good following, they'll just give you a record deal. And it's like, what is happening? You know what I mean?
It's bad. And it's same things in
Yeah.
the acting. This stuff that I've witnessed in the acting world, because I'm involved with that as well.
Oh,
The same thing.
dope. Yeah,
They wanna see how many followers. They're giving these roles to people who have a bigger following than
right,
actual people, actors that have accomplished stuff, and actors that actually would be better for the part.
right.
But no, we want to see how many followers you have. It's
Exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. That's all that matters now to them. It's how many followers you have and how popular you are. Yeah, come on our platform. So you have these, guys or girls who are legit unexperienced, but they just have a good following. And it's like, man, the game is so backwards now. Like you don't
Mhm.
need, you can buy those followers
You
and be
can.
on, you know what I mean? Like be the Billboard Awards hosting, and it's like, wow, like the game is just backwards now. But it's like, it is what it is. You can't fight it. You just like, amen. I just want to go against that grain and do what I know I'm supposed to do. So that's how I kind of look at it. Like I'm gonna just do what I know I'm supposed to do and just hope that, it reaches just one person, if it may be, but hopefully the world, you know what I mean?
Are you a sports guy? I know you didn't play sports, but are you a sports fan at all? You fan of any
Um,
teams or?
No, no, I don't. To be honest, with you, I'd be lying if I'd be like, "Oh yeah, the Lakers." Like, I mean, when Kobe was alive, you know what I mean. But other than that, I've never really, really been into sports. Now when it's on though, I'm into it. I'm like locked in. I'm hype. Yo, you're trash. You know what I mean. But
You
other than
try.
that, I've never. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I've never really, really like been into it like that. You know what I mean?
No, I get it, and especially because I was going to connect this to the numbers point to where if numbers were such a big thing, how come we don't say that Bill Russell is the greatest of all time because he's got 10 rings? People bring up Jordan. Now people say LeBron because of longevity. Then you got to throw Kobe in there. So numbers doesn't always mean everything.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's about the overall impact. This is why Jay-Z to me is one of the greatest rappers ever because he was able to transcend the music industry on its own, right? He 40 Club, he bought the Brooklyn Nets and so forth and so on. He showed us that there's an out of music. Like that can be the base, but you can span out by so many ways. Like Dr. Dre with the Beats by Dre headphones, and it's like expanding, and that's dope.
50
That's
Cent
dope.
with power. They
Exactly.
do other things.
Exactly. So those things to me are like game changers, different revenues and avenues of, income. Like that's just dope. And the influence, it's
Mhm.
fire.
It's all about the influence.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, are you thinking about taking your choir on tour with the church that you work with? Have you thought about that?
What's so fire is that would be dope. But because we have churches in different places, there's a choir in each city we'll go to, each country.
Okay.
And so right, so the group I'm a part of is bro, it's worldwide. It's called AMS or the Sold Out Collective, Arts Media Sports Sold Out Collective. And so who's a part of this? We have NFL players in this collective. We have newscasters like old retired WNBA players, retired NBA players as well. And so when I go to these different cities, it's like kind of like a fraternity in a way, but it's not a fraternity because we're all just doing it for God, right? And so we're using our gifts to break into these different industries to show God's will. And so when I go to these different places, I could just hit up the church, like, yo, I need about 10 people to come out. Let's do it. We're performing. I'm free for the last record, and they're all already there. So that's already fire, you know.
That's real. So,
Yeah,
it's to really top things off with this new path that you're on. Do
yeah,
you finally feel that the holes are filled in that? Because you say in the record with "I'm free." So, do you finally actually feel that? Is the
yeah.
wounds healed? Everything is
Yeah, that's such a great
things
question.
100.
Oh, no, that's such a great question. No, a lot of it is though.
Hmm.
And so what I realized, in finding God, I thought like, oh man, I'm just going to be good to go. And so now I'm free in that I'm not shackled down by anything anymore.
Hmm.
Like I'm not a slave to women, alcohol, so forth and so on. But now I have to deal with what I did to myself. And that's what kind of messes you up. Like I said, the tormenting
The
memories of
memories.
yeah, sleeping with this person, doing this, wishing I never did it. And so now I have to circumvent those things on this walk. It's legit the process of being a caterpillar, being in the cocoon, and then being a butterfly. A lot of the days I find myself in the cocoon stage, repairing myself and becoming someone new or renewing my mind. So there's days where I'm like, I'm good, and there's days where it's like, I need some more help. I need,
Yeah.
so and I thought just finding God, you just be that's it. But no, that's just the start line. Now
Hmm.
it's okay, let's repair what you've done. Let's heal from the relationships that broke you, the girls, my dad, and so forth and so on. And so that takes time. That takes time. So I'm on a journey of freedom. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So and I'm staying on the path because I know what I was doing in the world wouldn't get me there. I know the girls didn't. I know the music industry didn't. I know the numbers game didn't. But I know God, He at least started me on that path. and he's gonna see me through because he promises me that in his word, and I believe him. So yeah, I have my days, I'm free and I'm on the path of it.
No, I really want to give you your credit for that because that's huge. A lot of people don't speak about that, and
Yeah.
that's big. And I want to see you to the point to where you feel as though that all those wounds are healed. I think that's it's gonna take time. I think everything takes time, but it's gonna happen for you because you're already on a new path.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. And if you ever want to study the Bible too, bro, we have a church in Atlanta. Go to church out there. Like it's so dope, bro. I have
yeah.
friends who have Netflix films, who are actors. Who my boy Emeka Anima, he just did a table reading with Tyler Perry, and at the beginning of the table reading, they started praying. And
Mm.
so see, like we're really trying to get in there and expand all these different industries. So you're more than welcome, bro. Let's
Oh,
get started. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I go through my dark times, and I think too, because like there's been times where I've questioned my faith recently. Well, not like I guess you could say because I was in Catholic school my whole life,
Oh
so it was
wow,
kind of like
wow.
shoved down my throat.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it's kind of it's more it comes from more of a toxic point where you went and found it on your own. I
Yeah,
think when it's pushed on you and shoved down your throat with all these narratives, it makes it like,
yeah,
eh,
yeah,
it's tough. So
yeah,
it's kind of like you have to find yourself. Like where I do believe in God, but it's tough for me to get right
yeah,
back into the lane at a comfortable standpoint to where
right.
I feel fulfilled.
Yeah, bro, I get you 100%. And especially with Catholicism, it's so much tradition and
Mhm.
not just the word. Like your first communion or you confirmed, like that is not in the Bible. God is not
No,
going to ask you everything. Where's your confirmed paper? You know what I mean? Like, and so it's legit anti of God.
it
God's
is.
Yeah, so he's like, "What are you talking about?" So again, baptizing the baby sounds crazy. Like to know the truth, you have to actually be of able mind to say, "You know what? I'm going to follow this path, and I'm going to follow you." You know what I mean? So I get 100% of what you're saying. Like it has to be your decision and your journey,
Yeah.
but you need to
I'm
actually
open
first.
to it. I'm 100% open to it. It's
Come
just that
on,
I've dealt with things in my past with being in that system.
yeah,
It came from just a shove it down your throat perspective. And you're right, it's the anti. That's
yeah,
not, yeah,
yeah.
it's almost as though that was militant.
Legit, legit. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate when people go through stuff like that because it
Yeah.
ruins it. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm good. I don't ever want to hear about this ever again. I've met
Yeah.
so many people who like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want it. I don't believe in God. Just take it out, get out my face. And it's like, amen, yo. Like, I just
Yeah.
thought,
I'm not to that point
yeah,
where I don't believe in God, but
yeah,
it's to the
yeah,
point to where the things that you learned,
yeah,
it's just a
yeah.
headache.
Right, right. I got you. I got you. It's no spirit. It's
No,
no
yeah, there's
spirit.
no
Just
spirit in it. It's forced.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not God.
I'm working to get on that path where it's not forced.
Fire, bro. Fire. I'm
Yeah.
here for you, bro.
I
I'm here.
appreciate that.
No doubt. No
I
doubt.
appreciate that. But man, Uni-G, is there anything else you want to let your fans know? Anything else that we didn't get covered here today?
No, yeah, I think you got it all, bro. You didn't did your homework. Come on, bro. But yeah, just for them to check out, I'm free to
I'm
share,
free.
stream it everywhere. The project or the singles, they're coming, they're on the way. And if anybody wants to, do some Bible studies to DM me, again, we're across the entire world, and my friends are legit out there planting churches. Like, I mean, legit, we came into church together, and they're going out planting churches. And with the AMS collective I was telling you about,
Mhm.
we're making an impact in the industry, the dance world, acting, so forth and so on. So it's not like you have to lose yourself when you find God. You don't have to give it all up. Just use it for God. Like
Yeah.
it's bigger than you. So yeah, that's what I want to, give to my unites. That's what I call my supporters, my unites. To hit me up, you want to do some Bible studies and let's make disciples of all nations. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Let's get busy. Let's build together. Uni-G, man, thank you again for coming on the show. I had a great time. I'm freezing my rotation. I want to thank Kelly as well for getting this all
Yeah.
set up and coordinated. And we got to keep in touch too. When you drop that
Sure.
project, we'd love to have you back on to talk about it.
I would love that, bro. And then when I'm in Atlanta, I'll hit you up too, bro. Maybe we could chill or something. You know what I mean? Food
Yeah,
on.
yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm down.
Say no more, bro. So
Of
yeah,
course, let them know where they can follow you on Instagram, X,
yeah.
all those platforms that you have.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So all social medias is I am Uni-G, IAMUNIG, all social medias. And of course, my website is IamUniG.com. They could buy some merch on there. Take a piece of me home with you. It's all affordable, dope, great quality. So yeah, all social medias, I am Uni-G, TikTok, Instagram, so forth and so on. Follow me. I follow back. I answer my DMs. Let's make it happen. Come on.
Make it happen. Uni-G, thank you, man. Until the next time, all right?
All right, sounds good.
All
Thank
right,
you.
man. Salute. Take care.
Appreciate you, bro. Take
Yeah.
care. You
Bye-bye.
too.